Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and our Simple Abundance year. This is our journey through Sarah Breathnach's book, Simple Abundance, and we are now in the month of September. I know from some of your comments on the last video that can mean that you sort of have a love-hate relationship with this time of year because we're saying goodbye to summer, which we all love. And then it sounded like some of you guys didn't really have much of a connection with some of the things in fall. I hope that you can start to think about bringing in some sensory things. Like we mentioned apples, and that seemed to resonate with a few of you. So maybe it's having apple cider after you get home from work, those types of things, or it's watching the fall colors. I know when my Simple Abundance ladies and I were going through the book back in 2018, that was her day book of comfort and joy. We actually did like an old-fashioned sort of thing. We pressed leaves. Like we looked around for leaves and we pressed them. You know how you can do that in wax paper. And so you can think of some creative things that you could do with leaves, or maybe it's photography, going out and taking pictures of the foliage. I hope you visit a pumpkin patch, get a pumpkin, just really sort of savor some of the fall things. I totally understand the love-hate relationship though, because it does mean that fall is sort of, it's a precursor to the fact that winter's coming, and that's not everybody's favorite season, especially mine up here in the Northeast. But I am going to do my best to try to have a really nice fall and take in whatever I can. And I love apple cider, so I'm definitely thinking of doing that, just having it, warm in the crock pot, add some spices and things like that. So just little things to add in. I really like the entry that I'm going to talk about today. It was September 1st entry called Turning Over a New Leaf. I have a kitty here, my kitty Annabelle, with me, by the way, if you hear her little cooing in the background. And I like the play on words with the turning over a new leaf, because the leaves are going to be falling soon, right? So what a better way to say we're ready for some change, or just to reevaluate where we are. Here we are, we're 9 months, almost 9 months into this journey together. And we've birthed many things. We were pioneers, we were goddesses, or I should say we are. Sorry, she's rubbing up against the tripod legs. And so here we are. We're at a new state of being, and we're constantly evolving. I talked a little bit about transformation and ascension recently, and we're on our way. We're on our way to unity, wholeness, being more authentic with our authentic selves, right? I hope so. So in today's video, Sarah shares with us, and you may not know this, I know this from my many years of working at Hallmark, but this is the month when the Jewish tradition observes their new year. That's Rosh Hashanah, that's their high holy days, and their ceremony or their celebration, I should say, for the marking of the new year in their calendar, it ends on Yom Kippur, which is the Day of Atonement. And that is a period of time, it's a very reverent, quiet period of reflection, and there's some fasting involved. Food is very involved though. If you look up the history of Rosh Hashanah, talking about apples, they do apples and honey. There's all different things that they eat. Their food is very symbolic of things too. Like they have, the breads that there's like a braided bread that symbolizes the crown of God, I read, and something about the raisins means something else. I'm not an expert, so look into that if you're interested. But I wonder if you might consider shifting your thought about the new year to this time of year, especially during this year, our Simple Abundance year. Because here we have 8 months, we're going into our 9th month. We have so many months now under our belt with learning about ourselves and taking time for ourselves and really, hopefully, treating ourselves better than we ever had in the past. even if we're still working on it and we haven't gotten totally there. When I looked up Rosh Hashanah, I really like these 3 questions that they always ask themselves during this celebration of time. What is the most important thing in my life? What are the most meaningful and important things that I've achieved in the last year? And what do I hope to achieve over the coming year? So not unlike what I usually do at the beginning of the year in my journal at January timeframe. But in this entry from Sarah, she makes an interesting point about, we know what New Year's resolutions are, right? Like, oh, this is going to be the year that I finally lose weight, or I pay off my debt, or I get a new job, or whatever those things are. Sarah makes a good point. She says, it seems to me that January resolutions are about will. September aspirations are about authentic wants. What do you want more or less of in your life so that you can love the life you're leading? It could be as simple as seeing friends more, setting aside time to have adventures with your family, rekindling a romance, calling a solitary hour a day your own, introducing more order into your daily round, or taking more walks in the dazzling sunshine. So just like, what are the most important things in my life that Rosh Hashanah asks, I wonder if you sat down and you asked yourself, what do I want more of, or what do I want less of? And think about ways that you could potentially work on making those things happen, right? And I'll just read a little bit about what she says about, since ancient times, September has been viewed as the beginning of the new year, a time for reflection and resolution. And I didn't say really, Yom Kippur it's a very private atonement. It's a sacred withdrawal from the world for 24 hours in order to become right with God and others, so that real life might be renewed with passion and purpose. Can you imagine doing that? It might be hard if you share your life with somebody that's there all the time, but imagine if you could carve out 24 hours and have a total self-reflection experience, and potentially, like I said, they fast during that Yom Kippur time frame. And I think in a lot of spiritual traditions, fasting is involved, right? So I wonder if you could take 24 hours and really do some reflection and really getting right with how you want to feel about life. What do you think about that? Would that be a huge feat to accomplish? I like this idea, and I know 2 years ago I did sit down and really did a lot of journaling around this time and tried to look at it as a different sort of new year for that year. Last year, I was too distracted by everything happening. This year, I'm also very distracted by everything happening, but I still am going to make a point to try to sit down and do some journaling about this. She closes with saying, the beauty of autumnal inspirations fueled by imagination and purpose is that they're private. No one else knows we're making them. Autumnal resolutions don't require horns, confettis, and champagne. September asks only that we be open to positive change. What do you think? Can you do that? Oh, I'm going to read one more thing that was earlier about change, though. Change in the natural world is subtle but relentless. Seasons seem to give way gently to one another, even if the monthly motion is so swift we don't realize we're moving. But when the leaves start turning colors, it's time for turning over a personal new leaf so that our lives might be restored. Yeah, I mean, I know that it can sort of seem like autumn when the leaves are falling and everything. It's just like, I told you, it's the prelude to winter. So it's like, you sort of feel like it's like the death of things. But there's so much rebirth in the world. And I mean, I think of spring more as the rebirthing time. But this is all a part of the process. So, and she said, what do you want more or what do you want less of? Like, this could be a time of letting go as well. As we think about the leaves falling and letting go, we think about what do we need to let go of in our lives to maybe have a more positive experience on a daily basis. I think there's a lot to think about, and I like this encouragement. I would have never really thought of this had I not been reading the book. And like, I would just be thinking the New Year's not until January, but I like this idea of having a different time frame for New Year's, especially, like I said, during this year, because we've been working on so much and talked about so much. So I bet your perspective would be very different than when you sat down in January, if you had a chance to do that as well. So I encourage you to do that. Lots of love to you all. Thank you so much for watching. Welcome to the new subscribers. I've seen you guys coming through in the last few days. Thank you so much for the support. I'm glad you're here, and I will see you on the next video as we continue on exploring Sarah's principles this year. We still have more to come, even though the year is on the final turn of the wheel, but we still have so much more to discuss. So I will be here, and I will look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.